Okay, so the wildest thing that's ever happened at my agency was a dispute of parking spaces between one of my LSPs, my licensed sales producers, and an owner in the suite next door, to a point where on a Friday night, my LSP, which I was not there or else I would have stopped it, went and banged on this ice cream shop's window and actually flipped him the bird and then ran off. The next business day, the ice cream shop owner came to me and let me know what had happened. And sure enough, we had to let that LSP go, man. That was absolutely wild. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it was crazy. I thought, wow, it takes a lot to be able to do such a thing. It's just a parking space, and we've got a gigantic parking lot out front. There's hundreds of spaces, but apparently they all wanted that one space. So
that's even better.
Yeah. So my name is Keith Zabrocki. I'm a captive agent with a very large insurance company, and I'm an insurance dude.
Insurance dudes are on a mission to escape being handcuffed by our agencies.
How? By uncovering the secrets to creating a predictable, consistent, and profitable agency sales machine.
I am Craig Pretzinger.
I am Jason Feldman.
We are agents.
We are insurance dudes.
Right now, while it's fresh in your mind, check out live.teledudes.com.
We took our notes from over 100 interviews with top agents from around the country and made it into a live webcast.
Using these strategies led Craig and I to selling more than $10 million in premium in the last 2 years.
On this call, you'll receive the exact blueprint to get the same results.
Just go to live.teledudes.com to register for this upcoming Tuesday's live call with us.
If you jump on this call with us, we're certain 2022 will be an absolutely fantastic year for you.
See you there.
Yes.
Yes.
Welcome, Keith. It's great to have you.
Thank you.
Are you
Great
parked in
here.
that parking space right now? Who's parked there?
Not me. Yeah, rest assured that that ice cream shop owner, they sold their business to a new owner, so they've since vacated the place. The ice cream shop's still open, but they put up a sign. They actually put up a sign now that says this is parking only. It's for to-go orders and stuff like that. And sure enough, man, it was a doozy. I never thought that we would be in such like first world problems to where we had to, squabble over, parking spots right out front. It was crazy.
Yeah.
It's like, guys, you can walk an extra 20 feet to another parking spot. There's like 5 others right there. What is the significance of this one? Right.
Crazy.
I don't get it. So
That's what makes that story so good, is that it wasn't the last parking spot.
No, it
One
wasn't.
of many.
No, there's 98 other ones.
Sure, it was right out front. I get that, but I mean, like, really? Next row over?
So good.
Yeah.
I actually like to park kind of far away so I actually get some exercise in.
Yeah. Yeah.
great.
Look, hey, man, I'm with you.
Yeah.
You can just run to work, Craig. Why don't you see
Well, at this age, like parking far away is about all I can do.
that is the workout. That's
Right.
that's the
With
mile.
the walker and with the little tennis balls
With
on
the
bottom.
walker. Aren't you still riding your bike?
I have not been riding. I just got it all tuned up. I'm ready to go. Jason really demoralized me talking about my spandex.
Oh, he did?
Yeah.
Well, I
Good.
don't know why he has to wear the old spandex.
You
Does it really
have to
save him?
for the seat. Yeah, on the road bike, you have to wear that thing. It's called a kit, not a spandex. It's called a kit.
Well, I guess you can always get one of those really big cushy seats.
No, then it
The one with the
doesn't.
spring on it.
No,
Yeah.
so if you ride like 50 miles, everything is important, like for aerodynamics, for your legs.
stop.
Like you can't have your legs rubbing on like a beach cruiser seat because you'll chafe.
Oh, totally. Yeah, I used to ride, not 50 miles like you're doing, but when I was riding, it was critical. And you can't go those long distances without type of padding because those seats that they supply you,
man.
especially on those marathon bikes,
It's
man,
crazy.
I don't even know why they would give you such a seat that has virtually no padding. It's so uncomfortable. Like mile 3, you're like, oh, come on.
Yeah,
Need
it
to take
takes
a
a
break.
few weeks to like get the callus in that area. But they don't even call it a seat. They call it a saddle.
Yeah. I guess that's their way of saying it's not comfortable.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Because if you've ever ridden a horse, that's not comfortable. I don't know how they do that.
Nope, not at all. Yeah, my wife for Christmas got me a Norditrack rowing machine. I am addicted to that.
Oh,
thing.
nice.
Ooh.
That thing is freaking awesome. If you okay, so riding your bike, it's great workout. It's great cardio. It's great for your legs. You're going to tone up your legs, right? But you're not going to do much for your upper body, where that rowing machine is all straight upper body. You're going to work out everything, your back, your buys, your lats, your traps, everything, man.
It's amazing.
I mean, I can't last 20 minutes on that thing.
Yeah.
I truly cannot. I mean, you feel like your arms are going to fall off, but man, oh man, it feels great when you're done.
Yeah.
It's awesome. I'm addicted
That
to
is
2000. The 2000 is the big thing on that.
Mhm.
Well,
Like
my
trying to
comments,
correct
my comments with the bike definitely is out of ignorance because I've never ridden that far. And I will say this, that if I did get into it, I would definitely get some awesome spandex, probably in fluorescent colors. With
You just get insurance dude spandex.
Yeah. Yeah.
Except those don't have those I think are yoga pants. So ladies, there are insurance dudes yoga pants at the store.
Oh my gosh.
I don't know if we can handle this order that's going to come in now.
I have a feeling I'm going to see a Facebook post with Mr. Jason sitting, riding his bike, but he's standing up and it says insurance dudes across his ass.
Yeah.
Perfect. Yes.
Yeah.
That is going to happen.
Brandon wants to wear them.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Well, let's dive in before we ride too far away in this conversation.
Oh no, you didn't.
Yeah, I did it. Keith,
Okay.
tell us how you got into this crazy business that we like to refer to as the insurance business.
Oh man, I'll tell you. All right. Well, my history and what led me to this is kind of a mixture between life insurance and mortgages, and then ultimately property and casualty, with the captive agent that I'm with now. When I graduated from Ohio State, how people in the state of Ohio would say the Ohio State University. My first job, I got recruited by a life insurance company by the name of American Income Life. And they were a competitor to Western Southern, which I believe Allison Donor was with. And my job was to drive like sometimes up to 3 hours one way to these little towns on the Ohio River. So the Ohio River separates Ohio and West Virginia. So we're talking like Appalachia. It's kind of economically kind of depressed, right? And my job was to go down there to sell union benefits to coal miners and steel workers and, union families. And I'll tell you, the culture down there is amazing because those people will do whatever they can to help you out. They will give you the shirt off their back, but they're also vastly just uninsurable. There's not a lot of economic opportunity there. So a lot of times I'm making house calls. I'm driving 3 hours in one way, and I'm making house calls to, a manufactured home, a double wide that probably doesn't have running water to meet with some families that are just completely uninsurable. And I did that for 3.5 years. Wow. I worked for 6 days a week. I would leave my house at like 9 a.m. I probably wouldn't get back because it was, 6 hours each way, or that was probably the furthest that I've driven. Sometimes it was an hour away, sometimes 2 hours away, but I wouldn't get home until like 8 or 10 o'clock at night. And I found at the age of like 22 or 23 that eating Cheetos from the local gas station or trying to seek out a Subway in these small towns, it just wasn't for me. So after 3.5 years being with American Income, I joined a lending firm in downtown Columbus, right? The lending firm was called Residential Finance Corp. So I became a loan officer with them. And it was great. It was, 9 to 6, 9 to 7, sometimes 9 to 9 if it was the end of month and we were kind of trying to push loans through. But I really kind of gained a lot of insight into how a call center environment can work. and really kind of get the fundamentals and the basics of a sales process down to where we could really kind of apply that towards the insurance space. Well, in 2014, the firm, Residential Finance, actually just went belly up. And that was just due to the mortgage industry. Just it does have closings. Companies do go under. And unfortunately, the company I was with did go under. So at the time, I had a couple of friends that actually saw the writing on the wall and jumped ship. One friend you guys all know, Tolga Demerol. Uh-huh. We worked at RFC together. And a couple of other guys that are still captive agents with the insurance carrier that I'm with, they had all said, "Hey, Keith, this is a good opportunity. You should join up." So I've joined up, and I've been with this captive agent here for the last 7 years. Loving it, man.
Awesome. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
So did you acquire, or did you start from scratch? Scratch. Okay, so you went in there, guns blazing, ready to rock and roll after dealing with coal miners and then doing loans. Take us back to the earliest win that you had that kind of fueled the fire and really got you excited.
Oh, wow. Okay. The earliest win. I guess you could say I have this humbled mentality that even if a win comes across, it's more of a blessing to me. Okay. Maybe it's just because I'm in the moment that I can't think of something to where I can really kind of recall. But I can tell you this, is that when I was trying to staff up back in 2014, I was having some issues with staffing. And my field sales leader at the time had got me paired up with somebody at corporate who was able to help me identify some candidate to get hired. So where I was set to open with one salesperson, I actually ended up opening with 5. So I guess if we're going to look at it from the insurance space with the captive agent I'm with, my first win was in the pre-days of the opening of my agency.
Yeah.
And that was, I guess that was a blessing because my FSL didn't have to do that. And he did. So it was something that I'm eternally grateful, because that was, opening from a scratch agency where you've got nothing, right?
Right.
And it's all capital, and you're just sinking money in, and you're trying to spin your wheels, and you're trying to hire and recruit. And now you're trying to generate business, and you're buying leads, and you're doing this and that. None of that stuff would have worked if I didn't have people. Right. So for Joe to do that for me was what really kind of set the wheels in motion.
Yeah. Starting off at the scratch is like being in a giant warehouse fire, right?
My God, yeah.
And if you already have the team, I think that is probably the most challenging piece of everything, right? You're going to try all the different stuff and finally link up. But if you have a team, that's huge. I mean, that creates some momentum right out of the gate. Love that.
Yeah.
How many people do you have now?
Let's see. I've got 9 of us now. 9 of us, and then I do have a teleteam.
Cool. And so
yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, tell us about your team and the roles in your agency now.
All right, so I've got 7 LSPs now, which I have a defined role type of setup here at my agency. Or agencies, because I've got 2 of them. I've got one in Westerville, the other in Powell, and these are 2 suburb cities outside of Columbus. I really and this kind of just is this pulling from my experience being in the mortgage industry, is that we have to have defined roles. Like when you're in the mortgage industry, you're either a loan officer or you're a processor. A loan officer sells the deal. The processor processes the loan, right? So when I got big enough here at the agencies, I decided, okay, well, we're going to have those dedicated roles. So I've got 2 service people that their job is to straight service the clients every day. Right. So service people service, and then sales people sell. So I've got 7 sales producers and then 2 service people.
Cool. Super cool.
Yeah.
And then, you go. Sorry. With the makeup of the team, how important is the culture that you've created, and how have you created that? What have you done to create that great culture?
Yeah. Good question. Culture is absolutely critical for any type of team building, any type of mission statement that you put out there. We have to be able to cultivate that culture. And that culture is really going to be, it's either going to be implemented and cultivated by me, or unfortunately, it's just going to go by the wayside. One of the things that I did was when I was recruiting, or when I am recruiting, is I'm always looking for people that fit the mentality of being coachable. right? That you have if we're interviewing you for a sales role, that you're of that, competitiveness, that you're coachable, that you've got a great attitude, that you understand that, you're accountable for your actions and your goals, but at the same time, you're also part of a team. So the culture for us, and don't get me wrong, we did put out a list of non-negotiables, and we do it every single year where we remind everyone, hey guys, attitude is huge. We need to make sure that we're displaying some professionalism, that you have to be coachable. We're going to run through a series of training modules, and it's absolutely required that you attend them. There is nothing that's more important than attending a training module. And it's just more or less everyone knows that they're part of a team, and that if you're a part of a team, you need to pull your weight. So when we put out those goals every single month of what everyone is supposed to hit, now everyone knows what their mission is, and they need to go to complete their mission. I've got a sales manager. His name is Aaron. His goal every single month is to write 80 items. So 80 items in Ohio, that's around $40,000 in new business premium. And that's what his goal is, right? In addition to also managing the team and fielding questions and holding sales meetings and stuff like that. So that's the culture. And I guess I just got lucky when it came to identifying the right candidates, because every single person out there on that floor is willing to help each other out. It's not some kind of cutthroat prison rules, type of environment where, let's say, Tim quotes somebody today and then Josh picks up the phone tomorrow and gets it bound and then puts his own sub-producer number in there.
Right.
No, that's definitely not it. I mean, we've got some clearly defined type of rules where we say, hey guys, if it's quoted, the original writing LSP has 30 days to be able to get it sold. If it's outside 30 days, then it can go to a free to bind for anyone that should get in contact with them and get it bound up. But they kind of act as a big family out there, and they're all looking out for each other, and they cover each other, and they, it's nice. It's nice that they have that team cohesiveness and that they're all friends.
I love that. It's so important too, because I've been a part of the opposite, and it's tough. And then you realize, hey, I got to cultivate this kind of mentality in the office. And once you cultivate that, they all love it because they're all rowing in the same direction and help each other out.
Yeah.
How do you recruit? Find agents to come in and to be a part of that culture? Do you list those non-negotiables that you mentioned in the interview, or?
Yeah, absolutely. So as far as recruiting goes, I've found the best way to be able to attract people to submit their resumes to you and stuff like that is through Indeed. And you can either do that by, posting your own job requisition. And then, I don't know, I guess their word is boosting it. Maybe I'm wrong in that terminology, but, you could set your monthly budget to be able to post that job postings, and you'll get people that will respond to that and submit their resumes to you. Indeed actually has that resume search, which, actually, Jason, I think you and I went through that a couple months ago, where you can actually target people that work at competitors. And you can send them a direct message saying, hey, we've got a good thing going on over here. If you're not happy with your current carrier, let's talk. I'm paraphrasing that, but I found that to be a very cost-efficient way of going about and getting people that are qualified that you yourself want to talk to. But then at the same time, you can also really, through that effort there, you could identify certain industries that would be a perfect fit for the insurance space. Let's take, for instance, and this is one that I found that's absolutely huge, is that with the Indeed resume search, you can search out collection agents and then send them a message.
Love it.
Oh my gosh. Collection agents, they're used to getting hung up on all day, every day. They're used to getting yelled at. I mean, they're chasing down people that owe them money, right? I mean, that sounds like a pretty hard hustle.
Yeah.
Whereas you're still making the same amount of calls. Yes, you're receiving live transfers, and that's wonderful, right? So that's a breath of fresh air. But now you're offering something in the insurance space to where you could, A, give them better coverage, B, save them money, or C, give them better coverage and save them money. and you're creating value. So
Right.
the resume search and Indeed.com allows you to be able to kind of pinpoint down the type of person that you want to add to your team. And depending on how many messages you want to send per month, man, I'll tell you, you can go big. You can go 500 messages in 1 month, no problem.
Are you doing that yourself?
I am.
Okay.
Okay. It is labor intensive and it does take time. But see, I'm willing to invest the time to know that I'm getting the person that I want to talk to. Right. I'm selectively reaching out to that person saying, hey, I'm interested in talking with you because I see that you're doing this and you might be a good role for my team.
Sure.
So I do have that. If I reserve like an hour or even a half hour a day to do it, then it works. And you get a steady flow of people that will respond saying, I'm interested in talking to you about it, and just set up an appointment. Now you're off to the races.
Right. So
yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. Well, I was going to jump into after. So you find them, you do the interview, you bring them on. Now, what do you do to ensure that this new team member is going to be successful at your agency?
Good question, man. Oh, man. So I am not, I am so hands-on when it comes to training and ramping up because I feel like, well, one, it's a tremendous financial investment in that person, and I don't want to leave that to chance. But two, I know that that person is kind of feeling like a fish out of water. It's a new role. It's a new company, might even be a new industry that they've just joined. And I want to make sure that I'm putting them in the best chance for success. So we go through crazy amount of training. I mean, yes, the company I'm with goes through virtual binding. No problem. You get that. From there, I'm telling you, it feels like 2 to 3 weeks of just constant ongoing training. Don't get me wrong. They're on the phones. They're quoting people, but I'll give them a list of 40 centers of influence that they need to get names and phone numbers and deck pages of. So therefore they can get quotes done. The intent here, and they know this, the intent is not to sell your friends and family. That's not the point. The point is to get that practice to quote people, right? So there are, yes, we do Jeremy Olson role play. There's a handful of different platforms, and I don't want to plug them because, it's not relevant. But sure enough, regarding the ongoing content that we go through, quite extensive, not to mention there's probably about 2 hours a day that I'll sit down with them. We'll go through all their quotes. We'll go through rebuttals. We'll go through overcoming objections. We're going to go through RMPs, trial closing, how to build their quotes, how to sell a personal umbrella policy. I mean, you name it, we're covering it.
I love that. There's so many different training platforms. I honestly, if you're not using any kind of training or really a group to be a part of that encourages these behaviors of winning in an insurance agency, then any of them are good, right? Mm-hmm. Like to do any of them is better than to not do any of them. And I think that's awesome. There's so many good ones out there. You brought up a lot of amazing stuff that you guys do when bringing on someone. But like if you had to boil it down to somebody that maybe didn't have any kind of process when they brought someone on, what would you say the number one training tip that is the most effective?
Quoting. Look, I mean, yeah, if it had to be one thing and only one thing, especially in a sales role, your LSPs need to know how to quote somebody. Mm-hmm. And they need to do it fast. We're not talking about, spending 20 minutes to do an auto quote. No. And practice makes perfect when it comes to this. So if there's one thing that an LSP, and if the question is really just give me one thing that somebody needs to do, it would absolutely be learn how to quote for sure, or learn how to complete a quote. Yeah.
Yeah. I love what you said there because the repetitiveness is part of that position. And it's going to be repetitive regardless of what they do. So if you establish incorrect habits and then they repeat, mm-hmm. then they're going to be doing it. They're going to be training to do it poorly, mm-hmm. right? And that's why in those first couple of weeks, you're so hands-on, which is critical, right? We have to establish the right behavior up front.
Yeah. Speaking of behavior, let me dive into something that kind of just came to mind when we were talking about culture. We were talking about accountability and all this other stuff. There's one thing that I took away from the mortgage business was some fundamentals that was kind of ingrained in our minds at the time that I brought over into the insurance space. And it's a term or a phrase that was used by a trainer that we met with every quarter. And this trainer would always tell us, he would say, hey guys, focus on the root, not the fruit. Focus on, oh yeah, this is big. Focus on what you can control and the results will come. So focus on how many, so let's translate that into the insurance space. Focus on how many outbound phone calls you're making. Focus on at least getting 4 hours of phone time a day. Make it a point to at least get 8 serious quotes a day, right? When you're on your calls, make sure that you're establishing rapport, right? That you're asking questions to really kind of humanize the experience so you can take away or kind of remove that dichotomy of I'm a salesperson and I'm trying to sell you an insurance policy. And let's break down those walls and say, I'm Keith at this insurance agency and your name is, Bob, whatever. And now we're just having a conversation between two guys that I'm now educating you or I'm showing you value on why you would want to join my agency. So if we're able to focus on our daily activities and having good quality conversations with somebody, then those sales will come. So focus on the root, not the fruit.
Love that.
And
focus on the root, not the fruit.
Yeah, it sounds so cheesy, but the thing is that it makes so much sense. Being in the insurance business where you're selling a product or a service, whatever you want to call it, that every single person needs. So any person that you come across has a need to talk with you. And if you can make sense, if you can give them better coverage, if you can save them money, if you could do both, at the same time add value by educating them, then they can potentially be your client. So if you do it in the right way, focus on the root, not the fruit, then the results will take care of themselves.
Love that. So we're focusing on the root, not the fruit. And even under those circumstances, the repetitiveness can get a little old and they can get complacent. Hey, what are you still doing here?
Well, while you're still here and while it's fresh in your mind, check out live.teledudes.com.
Yeah, if you weren't listening before, we took notes from over 100 interviews with top agents from around the country and made it into a live webcast.
Using these strategies did help Craig and I write over $10 million in premium in the last couple years.
And let me tell you, on this call, you'll receive the exact blueprint to get the very same results.
Again, that's live.teledudes.com to register for this upcoming Tuesday's live call with us.
And if you jump on with us, we are certain 2022 will be an absolutely fantastic year for you.
See you there.